everybody. I hope everyone had a good day on a big Monday. Had a pretty easy day, so I'm definitely not complaining about that. But I wanted to pop on here and talk about getting ready for summertime, because now is the time to try to start getting into shape, so you don't have to do it last minute, or maybe never do it at all like a lot of us do year after year. But I am motivated, and I wanted to throw a little bit of that you guys' way. So if you had like a New Year's resolution and never followed through, it's not too late. You can start now. Small changes are the most effective in that category for sure. I watched a video and it was saying like certain habits that successful people have, and one of the habits was to just do one push-up and see where it takes you, because more than likely, even though we're lazy for the most part, you're gonna do more than one push-up, regardless if it's 10, 20. Something is better than nothing. We all tend to want to approach things with like the all or nothing approach, and that's just not feasible and very likely to not have success. And that's not what we're looking for. We're looking for success, and we want to have something that's going to work for us. So making small changes is the best thing. Like for instance, with the push-up example, when I have some extra time at work, when no one is in the building, I'll do a set of squats. Sometimes I have time for 2 sets. Sometimes I have time for 3 sets. So I've been doing that. It's better than nothing, And then if you're new here and you're not familiar with what we do, I custom and hand make hula hoops for adults. We make them for kids as well, but we make the hula hoops big enough for an adult to be able to use them. Most people are like, oh, I used to be able to hula hoop when I was younger, but it's not that you can't hula hoop anymore. You're just using a kid-size hula hoop, and your hula hoop's not big enough. You need a bigger hula hoop as an adult, and it's the perfect workout. You have it at home, so it's very easily accessible, and it's actually a full body workout. There's so many, I don't know if any of you guys follow any hoopers, but there's literally a million tricks that you can learn, and it's a good workout in the process. It's kind of self-motivating in the fact that like you're learning a new trick and you almost got it, and it's like it's almost there, so you just keep pushing through to learn the trick, but you're really pushing yourself through a workout. It's actually pretty enjoyable compared to most workouts. I've always tried to stay in shape my whole life, but hula hooping just made that so much easier. I was never really like a huge gym person, so having my hula hoop at home with me, and I can just pick it up anytime. Like whenever you're watching your favorite podcasts, you can just pick it up, start spinning, getting your body moving. That's the main thing. You don't even have to be good at it. You just have to be consistent. And it's really rewarding as well. But so I'm going to, when I get home today, I'm going to pick up my hula hoop and do at least a 10-minute session. Okay, so that's like a good place to start. And a lot of times you'll go longer than you expect, like I said, with the self-motivating factor of it being like, oh my God, I'm so close. And a lot of it's muscle memory too. So you kind of like start getting the feel of how your hands are supposed to be moving. And if you put the hoop down and don't continue in that session, you might forget that. So that is another reason why it's kind of self-motivating. And then it's good for all age groups. I know like people that do it with their kids. The older community does it as well. So it's really a cool workout. It's something that's easy to attain, and you don't have to think about, okay, well, let me work out this part of my body today and that part of my body the next day. Like, it's a full body workout. If you stick with it, I guarantee you your whole body will tone up over time. From just, you use like muscles that your body probably didn't even know existed anymore. So it does use all of the muscle groups, and then it can be catered to any injury that you might have. Like, I broke a rib snowboarding probably 3 years ago, and it's like an aggravated injury, if that makes sense. It's healed, but it's aggravated. So I try to avoid that area when I'm hooping. I know a lot of people that have like knee issues or ankle issues, so hooping is low impact on your legs, or you can make the session cater to your ailment. So that's a really cool part about it. So if it's something you've been lacking motivation, or just haven't been getting to the gym or getting your body moving like you should, think about buying a hula hoop. They're pretty cheap, so you can get it and not have to pay an arm and a leg. A hoop will cost you less than a gym membership for a month, and then you get to keep it forever. So I'm going to try to get back on the train. I told myself this year that I was going to whip myself back into shape, and that hasn't happened yet. So I'm going to start today and start with a small change. Like I said, I can't say, okay, I'm going to start hooping for 50 minutes every afternoon. I'm just setting myself up for failure. So we want to do small changes. Gradual changes will impede the most success. So it's just something to think about, when we're overwhelmed and it feels like nothing's changing. Well, we can change the small things, and over time it'll make a big difference. So hi everybody, I hope everyone's having a good day. If you guys have any questions about hula hooping, the workout itself, or hoop sizing can be a little complicated sometimes. The bigger the hoop, the better for waist hooping. If that's what you're trying to do, just like the basic waist hooping, the bigger the better. The reason why the bigger hoops are better is because it takes a bigger hoop a longer time to go around your body. So instead of it moving really fast, it's moving slower around your body and gives you more time to correct in your motion. So if that's what you're thinking about getting a hoop for, is to do like waist hooping while you're watching your favorite podcast, or in the morning when you're waiting for your coffee to brew, you can just grab the hoop and just have a couple minutes, So 42 inch is the biggest size that we make. We have made bigger, upon request, but 42 should be a good size for most beginners. If you're petite, you might want to go a little bit lower in the sizing. A rule of thumb that we use is to measure from your belly button to the floor, and that'll give you an about size for a beginner at your height. If you're a little bit thicker, you might have to go up a couple inches, or if you're real thin, go down a couple inches. It does vary based off of the person, your athletic skills, and your motivation and stuff like that. So 36 is probably like when people really don't know what to get. 36 will be where it's not too big to do like off-body tricks. Because like the 42 inch, you can waist hoop with it very easily, but if you're trying to do any tricks with your arms or something like that, it can get heavy and a little oversized or too big for stuff like that. So 32 is like kind of a middle like sweet spot where you can use it for all different tricks. It won't be too big and it won't be too small. 32 inch is the absolute smallest that we recommend for beginners. A 32 inch is still challenging for me to waist hoop with, and I've been doing it for over 10 years, so But anything's possible as long as you're motivated and you're consistent. Then some of the smaller hoops will be more challenging, but not impossible to work. And if you're looking for more off-body tricks, like more arm stuff and less with the waist hooping, then you can go down a couple sizes for that. So depending on what your needs are, but I'm always happy to help with hoop sizing. I'm usually pretty good with my recommendations to people after you ask them a couple questions and get a little bit more information about what they plan on doing with it and what their goals are. So if you're, like I said, in a rut and you're thinking it's starting to warm up and it's going to be swimsuit season soon, then maybe grab yourself a hula hoop, bring back the nostalgia, and just have a fun workout. It really, I swear, it's a fun workout. Like, I've stuck with it for over 10 years. I've never stuck with anything for more than 10 years. So I can attest to that. And then if you put on some of your favorite music and just dance with your hula hoop, like I said, you don't even have to be good at it. You just have to be consistent. You will start to tone up and your body will start to thank you. I'm getting to the age now where I'm having joint issues and stuff like that. So whenever I don't hoop for a week or two, my body's gonna tell me. It's like, hey, you're not using this joint and you feel it clicking now, right? So if you don't use it, you lose it. But don't think that, you know, you don't have room for improvement and that, oh, I'm just aging or whatever. It's like, no, you have to keep your body strong. And then you have to keep all of the muscles strong in your body to support your bone health and stuff like that. So we're in more control than we like to give ourselves credit for in that department. So it's just very important to, you know, grab the reins and try to make the changes that you need to make. Because if things aren't going the way that you want them to, then unless you make a change, it's going to stay the same. So we just have to find the motivation sometimes. I know it's hard and it can be difficult after working all day. That's why the hula hoop is so beneficial to have it with you all the time. I bring my hula hoop with me on vacation. It's like my bestie, for real. And if you do research into the hooping community, a lot of us stick with it for not only the physical, but for the mental alleviation that it can give. Like, whenever I have a super, like, my mind is always racing, I couldn't stop my thoughts if I wanted to. I have a very, very busy mind, but whenever I'm hooping and I get into, like, my flow state, it's like nothing else exists, and it's just me and my hula hoop. And that's really the only time that I can get my mind from getting off of, like, the stress of the day and just, like, harping on the bad. So it's really the mental is just as important as the physical benefits, for me at least. And I'm not the only one. There's a lot of people that feel the same way, and a lot of people that stick with it because of all of the benefits. With little I mean, you do have to study the tricks and you have to put the time in, but that's with anything. And that makes it kind of self-motivating too. So it's definitely the coolest, funnest workout that I've ever done. And I like to share the knowledge that I have with people because it can really change your life. That one change of adding something physically active to your routine can change your life in the long run. So that's what we always preach on here, like, even with dieting, to make small changes. If you're struggling with your diet and you're drinking Coke or Dr. Pepper, that would be the first thing to eliminate. It's just empty calories, it's sugar water. Sugar's not good for us anyway. So, like, that's where you can start. It wouldn't be, like, the biggest deal. It's not like you're trying to eat chicken and vegetables and water constantly. You have to make small changes, like with the Coke or the Dr. Pepper. And then once you feel like you've conquered that, then move on to the next step. And that makes it way less overwhelming and more attainable and more feasible. So many people, like, it's crazy with dieting. They want to do the all or nothing approach. Like, I'm going to eat terrible for months or years sometimes, and then they're like, okay, now tomorrow I'm having the perfect diet. That's just not reasonable, and it's not attainable, and it's going to get you nowhere. It's called a fad diet for a reason. So really making the small changes with diet and exercise will be what gets you out of that slump without like a major shift. So that's where I'm at right now. I'm going to be jumping back in my hoop routine. I watch a podcast every afternoon. So usually I'm sitting there like, oh, just being pudgy on the couch, just being a couch potato. But it's like, nope, you got to get up, you got to get moving, and nobody's going to do it for me. So that's kind of where I'm at. I wanted to share that with you guys and maybe trying to share a little bit of my motivation. But if you ever have any, like I said, questions about hoop sizing or how to, where to find tutorials, how to find your hoop flow. So that'll be the first step. Whenever you get a hula hoop, you see these videos where people are like flowing effortlessly from trick to trick, and you'll be like, how do they do that? It comes with time. It comes with a lot of practice, but that'll be your first goal as a hooper. After you conquer the waist hooping and learn a few off-body tricks, then you're like, how do I make them flow together? So that's one of the biggest accomplishments really as a hooper, is finding your flow. And everyone's flow is different. We don't like to compare ourselves to each other. Like, it's funny, like people outside of the hoop community, they're like, oh, I know a hooper, she's so much better than you. Like, that's not how we roll in the hoop community. We're all about like team effort, and we're all about supporting each other. It's not about comparing. Comparing is like the worst thing you can do for yourself. So everyone's flow will be different based off of your personality, your dance skills, your coordination, your finesse. Everyone will be different, and that's really the coolest thing about it, is to watch two different hoopers do the same tricks, but they look totally different because of the flow style. So that would be your first goal once you get a hula hoop, is to find your flow. It'll take months, could take years, and it'll get better with time. Like once you find your flow, it'll only improve from that point, so that's what makes it so cool, and that's what makes people stick with it, is because it's like there's goals. It's not like run on a treadmill, do 50 squats. Like, you're exercising with intention, so that makes it really fun and motivating. And like I said, it's always there with you. As long as you're at home, your hula hoop will be there. So there's no excuses. You can do it in your PJs. You can do it before you get in the shower. You can do it after you get in the shower. You can do it while you're boiling the noodles for spaghetti. There's so many opportunities and little windows. And even if you do a 10-minute session a day, 3 times a week, 3 to 5 times a week, you're gonna see results, no question about it. It'll be a little ugly at first. There'll be a lot of hula hoops to the face, tripping yourself up with the hoop when you're doing tricks, but that's kind of the beauty of it too. It's like after you try a trick, you fail, and then all of a sudden it's like, boom, I got it. Like, it's very, very rewarding in that aspect. So if you're interested in purchasing a hula hoop, I hand make them all myself. My website is idreamofhoops.com.co. I also sell on Etsy. And there's a bunch of different shops on Etsy as well. We just are really trying to encourage you to get moving and get motivated, and to find a happy, healthy habit to put into your daily routine, and just to make you overall stronger and better. It'll even make you smarter. You learn a lot of physics with hooping, how to change the current and the rhythm, and like there really is so many added benefits. It keeps your brain active, and it's something that you can take with you for the rest of your life. You know, like people that play guitar, if you start as a young boy, you're gonna play guitar until you get older. Like it's one of those hobbies. That's just how it is. We have a lot of older people in the community. We have a lot of young people in the community, people from all over the world. There's a huge demand for hula hoops outside of the US, like we make here, handmade, but the shipping gets crazy with shipping them overseas and internationally. So it is hard for them to get good quality hula hoops. All of the tubing is made in America, and it is female-owned businesses, which is fun. And you can order supplies from Hoopology is where we get most of our supplies from. And like I said, it's a very, very good community. We focus on positivity and encouraging each other versus competition. It's not about comparison. Like I said, comparison will ruin your self-confidence, you know? What we do is we take notes, we learn from each other. It's an evolving sport too, because we're always learning new tricks by accident, like with messing up a trick, and then all of a sudden the hoop gets caught here and it's like, oh wait, that could be a trick. So every hooper has probably invented their own trick eventually, or will. So that's really cool too, and then you get to share that with the community when people are asking, how'd you do that? So it is a very community-based sport. I want to get us they have some hooping in like the rhythmic gymnast, but I would love to get us like in a competitive state where we'd have competitions and places to gather and to hoop with each other. That would be really fun. I know I'm a long way off with that. We have a lot of street cred to build up before we would do that, but it's definitely a sport. And it's something, like I said, that everyone's gonna have their own unique style. So that's how it would really have to be like judged, like based off of like your 8 counts and maybe like difficulty, creativity. And there are some tricks that look difficult that are easy to learn, and some tricks that look easy that are hard to learn. So you can't always let that fool you. But whenever you learn a trick, just know that it's going to take a lot of failed attempts. But it also gives you like that life advice where like, don't just try, and if you don't succeed, then that's it. Like, things take time. And if you don't try, you'll never know. So it really shows you like being repetitive, being consistent is important. So it teaches you a lot of good life skills. I know it sounds silly, oh, it's just a hula hoop, but it has changed my life, and it has changed many others' lives. So like I said, just a small change like that can make a world of a difference. You can get yourself back into shape to where you'd like to be. You could potentially add calories to what you can eat because you're working out. That's kind of how it works, you know, it's like input versus output. If you're not moving a lot, then you're not burning a lot, so you can't eat a lot, you know. So like if you like to eat, I have a friend and she's always joking, she's like, I like to eat, okay? But she works out. She works out to compensate that because she wants to eat more, that's fair. Or some people choose not to work out and to eat less. But there are different ways to approach things like that. And it really is what works best for you. We're all different. Our chemistry, our bodies are all different. But if you want to know how many calories you need to consume in a day, you need to ask AI to calculate your total energy expenditure. The abbreviation will be TEE, and it'll ask you your height, your weight, your sex, your activity factor, which, like I said, that will affect your calorie range. If you're sedentary, you will have the lowest calorie range. If you're slightly active, which is what, if you would incorporate a hula hoop 3 times a week, then that will up your calorie range and your activity factor. But that's how to get a good baseline to know how many calories you're supposed to be eating a day, because we're all different based off of our age, our height, our sex, and then our activity factor. So that's a good place to start. And if you're trying to lose weight, whatever your total energy expenditure is calculated to by AI, if you would eat that amount every day, like mine's 1,400 calories, if I eat 1,400 calories a day, I'm going to stay the same weight. If I'm trying to lose weight, I have to eat less than 1,400 calories. Or if you're trying to gain weight, you'll have to eat more than 1,400 calories. 3,500 calories equal a pound. So you will have to cut out 3,500 calories to lose a pound. So that seems a little crazy. That's what we learned in dietetics in school. So if you cut out 200 calories a day, let's see, 2, 4, 6, 8. That would be like 1,400 calories a week. So you'd have to do that twice plus a little bit more. So like 2.5 weeks of cutting 200 calories will make you lose 1 pound. If you're looking for more results, then you'll have to eat more in a calorie deficit. And then you also always want to stay hydrated. And you have to include any calories that you're getting from your coffee. The coffee itself doesn't have any calories, but the creamers and the sweeteners will. So that's kind of an area that some people forget about. And if you have a pretty tight calorie range like myself, something like that could be putting you over your recommended, and you don't understand why the weight's not dropping off. It could be something like that, something small. So we have to account for everything. And then calorie counting and portion sizes are not feasible long term, but it's good to do like your portion sizes, like for your cereal, if you're eating cereal or something like that, to measure it out a couple times so you can get familiar with how much an actual portion size is, because we're overeating on our portion sizes a good bit. So once you see like, okay, this is how much cereal and how much milk I'm supposed to have for this amount of calories, it'll kind of put things in perspective for you. And then you'll be like, okay, I can't be oblivious when I'm eating my cereal and have it filled all the way to the top. You're eating way more than what the box says calorie wise. So really being accountable and being educated are some of the most important things when it comes to diet. And being consistent. Consistency is very important. We're not going to be perfect, but we have to auto-correct as soon as possible to try to not have any bad repercussions from our bad decisions. You know, the longer you stay off, the worse it'll get. So like this weekend we had cupcake and we went to a wedding, so we ate good food over there. So today, instead of being like, oh, I did bad all weekend, let me just eat whatever, I had a grilled chicken sandwich for lunch. And that's kind of how you compensate for bad decisions and try to alleviate some of that stress on your body. So that's kind of my MO. I'm always trying, at least, you know, I might not always be succeeding in the diet part, but I'm always trying and I'm aware, And when things aren't working, I try to autocorrect and change stuff, try to identify the problem. A lot of us don't think to do, like whether it be sodas, which are absolute no-no. They're bad for you, and they're bad for your waistline as well. So a small change like that can make a big difference. Or eating a light lunch. Like if you're eating something heavy for lunch, I find lunch is the easiest thing for me to undereat, because after I eat lunch, I'm back to work, I'm busy, my mind is distracted. So it doesn't really bother me. So like that's a good place to try to conserve some calories, is to eat a light lunch. And then like finding like a good healthy snack. I was like on the struggle bus with the snacks for a while, and I was like, okay, I'm eating a good dinner and a good lunch, appropriate calorie range. So my snacks are adding up more than I'm thinking they are. So I tried to eliminate that. I even I've seen people, I really like pickles, and pickles are a good snack. They're low cal. They're usually 15 calories, if even. It's basically just a cucumber. So I saw that people were pickling vegetables. Like whenever they finished their jar of pickles, they would just put like cauliflower, broccoli, carrots, and really you could put any veggie in there. And I was eating those pickled veggies at night. It was something that was holding me over, because it has a lot of fiber in it. So it's not like I was eating a little fun-sized bag of chips and then it does absolutely nothing. You know, you're still hungry. But that one little change of eating the veggies instead of a bag of chips, I started seeing results. So that's a lot of the times we need to identify the problem. Just step back and like I keep a bowl, or I used to keep a bowl of Hershey's Kisses, and it's like, yeah, a couple are okay, but when you're having 10 to 15, they add up, and it adds up quick. And if you do it every night, then that's how things can kind of catch up to you. So I had to identify the issue, and then I tried to find a good alternative, which was my pickled veggies. And I'm getting kind of tired of them. I need some more ideas. So if anyone has any good snack ideas. I like to watch Bethany Frankel, the Old Housewife of New York. She like does these supermodel snacks. She's like, okay, this is a supermodel snack. Like she has really good ideas in that department too. A lot of times you can have like what's on a sandwich minus the bread, like stuff like that would be a good snack, or replacing the bread with lettuce. Like there are ways to do it, and there are ideas out there. Weight Watchers has a lot of good recipes too. I always liked the Weight Watchers diet. I found it was one of the easiest ones to get a grip on like what you're eating, like what are the problems in your everyday diet. Like it'll show you like, okay, well this is this many points. It's like, okay, well that's too high and I should eliminate that from my diet. So I really like Weight Watchers. And then they share recipes. They have one Weight Watchers recipe and it's so good. If you get like a regular cake mix box, just like the box cake mix, and instead of adding the eggs and the oil and all that, you add a can of Diet Dr. Pepper or Diet Coke to chocolate, or Diet Sprite and the white cakes, or like the strawberry cakes, you would get a diet strawberry soda. And the cake won't rise a whole lot, but it'll be so moist. It's kind of like a brownie, and it's so good. It's low cal, it's something sweet, so you know you don't feel deprived. You don't ever want to deprive yourself too much, because that's when you'll start to want to binge. Like this weekend at the wedding, it's like, this is on occasion, so this is acceptable. But like I said, now I'm trying to autocorrect the bad decisions I made, and that it's just a balancing act. It really is. We can try to deny that as much as we want. I do it all the time, so I can relate to that, but it really is pretty black and white. if we look at it logically, input versus output. So if I'm burning less than 1,400 calories a day and I'm eating that much, I'm going to gain weight. Like it's pretty foolproof. There will be changes, you know, depending on hormones, where you are in your life. You know, people's metabolisms are different. So there will be slight variations, and you just have to adjust and adapt accordingly and try to make the best decision for you. Identify, like I said, the problems in our diet and lifestyle and try to correct them. And that's the secret. But if y'all have any questions, I did graduate in dietetics, so I am educated in diet, and I do like to share information that I've learned over the years with you guys, things that I've held on to that I thought were important and helpful. So you'll see a lot of that on my page, and then we do a lot of hooping and tutorials. I even have like hula hoop workouts where you're doing a pretty basic hula hoop move and then a workout move alongside. So you're getting double the workout in half the time. And those actually work pretty good. I'd seen myself started toning up after I was doing my hoop workouts. So that's always nice to have that to touch base if I'm not feeling creative or motivated. So if you're interested in any of that stuff, go check out my page. I have a lot of information on here on just like lifestyle changes, and we're always trying to encourage you guys and ourselves to try to make cleaner decisions when it comes to products. Our products are another big problem, and sometimes simplification is the best solution. All of these chemicals and stuff that we're putting onto our skin are not necessarily good for it. So like I've been using beef tallow for my face, and it has 4 ingredients in it, and this is like the best cosmetic product that I have. And it's like, instead of always thinking about overcomplicating and just overthinking stuff, sometimes the best solution is the simple stuff. So we encourage healthy products, healthy lifestyle, good decision making and accountability, and that's kind of what we preach here. So, but it's good to be back. Was MIA for a little while. So it's good to be back, and like I said, I'm feeling motivated, and I just kind of wanted to share that with y'all. I'll hopefully be sharing more hooping content. If there's like anything in particular that you guys are looking for, let me know. Idea sharing is always good. Sometimes we'll hit like these little writer's blocks and it's hard to be creative. So any input from you guys is always appreciated and you know, considered. So I should be on here tomorrow with more content. We're going to be making hula hoops tomorrow. We have a bunch to make. We have a bunch of beginner hoops, so that's always a good thing for the community. We have some new guys getting involved, but I do have a bunch of taped hoops to do, so I'll probably pop on here and let you guys watch me create and maybe throw some ideas around so we can share ideas and motivate each other. But if you're interested in an easy workout to do at home, go check out my website, www.idreamofhoops.com.co, or you can find me on Etsy. My shop's name is I Dream of Hoops. And we always like to do like custom stuff, like I said, just like with creativity blocks. The same things happen in production. My mom, she makes wreaths, and like she's so creative with her color combos and it's things that like the average person would never think about, but that's what makes her wreaths stand out, you know, like instead of doing exactly what everyone else would do, she's like doing like a 4th of July wreath, but instead of like the classic navy blue, she'll do like a baby blue. She's just super, super creative, and we have so many different tapes, and sometimes like I let customers leave me notes on, we make a mystery beginner hoop, and a lot of times I get cool color combos from there. They're like, oh, my girlfriend or my wife's favorite colors are purple and green, and it's just like whenever you're creating, you would never think to put those two colors together, but I actually did that with a mystery beginner hoop, and it ended up being one of my best sellers, that green and purple together, and I would have never combined those two tapes. So maybe tomorrow I can show you guys some of our inventory and what we have, and we can throw ideas around on color combos. There's different like finishes. Some are glittery, some are mirrored. So that would be a fun live where we can kind of bounce ideas off of each other. And then you guys can also see what I have in stock, you know, what your options are if you want to make a custom colored hula hoop or custom design. And I usually don't charge any extra for customs unless it's harder to do, but if it's the same basic pattern like the spiral and it wouldn't take me any more time, I'm gonna give you guys a fair price, because that's just how I am. I don't know, a lot of people charge more for customs, but that's not something that we do. Like I said, unless it's like a really hard implementation, like getting the tape on in a different way, or just something that's more challenging, then sometimes I will charge more. I've done customs for people that other people wouldn't even consider doing. For instance, like I said, it's very difficult for us to ship overseas, and this guy he was combining a soccer ball and a hula hoop, doing tricks with both, and he's from Spain, and he said that they can't get hula hoops like we have over here, so I made him a 8-piece sectional, which is like little pieces of hoop that you connect together. You can put them in a backpack, but they're very, very tedious to make, and then his was taped, which makes it more complicated. But we came upon agreed upon price because it was more difficult for me to make, and I also had to ship it overseas, and he was happy. He thanked me for being the only one willing to make it for him, because it is a challenge, but I've been doing this for a long time and I'm always up for a challenge. Throw it by me and we can collaborate and try to make it happen for you. I always say, if you can dream it, I can build it. So we do like to take custom orders, and you don't have to worry about it being marked up excessively because of the customization, unless it's way, way more difficult to make. So keep that in mind. I don't want to limit you guys by my own creativity. I want you guys to be able to create or design a hoop yourself if you'd like, if that's what you want, you know. So we're all about making our customers happy. And if you're interested in checking out the production of the hula hoops, I might take you guys into my hoop lab. Then just keep your eyes out for us tomorrow.